Okay, I was hoping that I'd be able to record this on something other than a potato with a Bluetooth headset, but apparently I'm going to have to record this on a potato with a Bluetooth headset. So, I want to do a video because we're currently living in very interesting times, and lots of people are proceeding to scream and cry about how if you want to survive this, you need to eat. Learn how to cook rice and beans, because as we all know, chanting two words over and over again is how you educate people. It's not about giving people instruction, presenting them with ideas and helping them out with examples. No, you just chant the same two words over and over again. So, this is me attempting to share to you as someone who's lived through five, I guess this will be like my fifth recession at this point. Tough times is a-coming. I want to give you some hints for survival, and I'm not going to go to too much specifics because specifics won't help you. I also want to get this video out now before stuff gets too bad, because when it gets really bad, it's going to get really bad. Okay, first I'm going to talk about things you need to get right now, while you've hopefully still got a job and still got money. First up is a rice cooker or a slow cooker of some description. Mine is heart-shaped because I bought a goofy novelty one off Temu 100 years ago, well, like 2019 I think it was, actually no, it might have been 2020. It cost me about $160 Australian, which at the time was not a bad price to pay for a rice cooker. COVID was going on after all. But what you want to make sure is that you want it to be a relatively modern one. You can see all those little goofy lights around the side. This is an 8-in-1. This will cook 8 different things. This will cook rice, it'll cook porridge, it'll cook soup, it'll cook multi-grains if you want to do a gruel, it'll cook soup, it's got a yogurt setting. And I've also used it to prove a loaf of bread back when I could eat gluten and was baking bread. So you want one with multiple functions, or a slow cooker. If all you can do is run down to the local thrift store, op shop, charity shop, whatever, and get a second-hand slow cooker, get that. And you're going to need to start practice cooking with it. Maybe not every single day, but at least once a week. Use this cooker. Learn its foibles, learn how it works. I can't tell you how your one's going to work because I don't know what you're going to buy. But buy one you can afford. Get the best one you can afford. If all you can afford is second-hand, then good, man, that's perfect. While you're down there, you want to look for something like this. This is a pressed black metal pan. It's not cast iron. This one is like 1.5mm, maybe 2mm thick plate. These are made by Dubai. This one is particular. But the thing you want to make sure is you need to make sure we've got riveted or welded handles, because if it's going to break, it's going to break here. And if that's riveted or welded, guess what? We can fix this. Or we can not. We can just get some vice grips and get it in and out off the stove. And you're going to want something like this rather than cast iron, because this is lighter weight. So also with the nice deep sides like this is a proper saute, which is a saute pan. So you can toss stuff in it. Push comes to shove, you can cook paella in this, you can cook soup, you can boil liquids in this if you have to, you can poach an egg in this bad boy. I haven't used this one yet. This guy was like $40 or $50. Again, it's a branded one, apparently a good brand, and that's why it costs so much. But you can get ones as cheap like Vogue or no-name brands from restaurant supply stores for as little as $20. Get a comfortable sized one. You don't need to get the biggest one you can. If you're at a thrift store and you see cast iron, and I'm not going to recommend cast iron because it's expensive and it's hard to fix. That, if you know someone that has a stick welder or a TIG welder, you can weld with it, it's fine. And the cracks will be nice and obvious, and if you do break it and it's $50, well, you're not going to cry about it. Treated well, it will last just as long as cast iron. So that's a good thing about it. And it's simple. If you know of a metal fabrication shop near you, they could make it. If you know someone that does blacksmithing, they can make it. We're just talking about a metal bowl with a handle, effectively. And you're going to want at least one of those. You can get by with one, trust me, you don't need anything fancy. And the reason you want black metal is because you can season it. Can't really season Teflon. Push comes to shove and you have nothing else. This can be used on a fire without affecting it. This can go in the oven because it's an all metal deal. If you only can afford one item of cookware, this will do it. It won't do it well, but it will do it. This will keep you alive. And sorry about that. For some reason, my headset decides to turn itself off. Hopefully, it's even still working. Where was I going? Yeah, look, if push comes to shove, you can actually use that. You can bake a cake in it. You can do everything you need to do in a pan like that. If you can find cast iron, if you already have cast iron, sweet, you're set, you're golden. Now I'm going to talk about storage solutions. This stuff. You're going to want this stuff with a tight fitting lid, because we're going to be talking about buying rice, beans, lentils, stuff that you can keep for a long time. That's an 8.5 litre one. You want them to be about that size, because you're probably going to be buying 5 pound or 5 kilo bag or 2.5 kilo bags of rice, beans, lentils, because you're going to be wanting to aim for that most effective cost without having to weigh yourself down. And this brings us on to our next thing. You need to keep this stuff so that it can effectively be used while keeping out pests. Now, the reason why people say lentils, rice, beans is because these things are all dried. If you keep them dry, they will not necessarily go off. There's a lot of caveats in that to do with humidity and where you are, but in general, they will keep for a good time if you can keep them dry. And for that reason, food safety, I'll just pivot on this right now, this is not the time to suddenly learn how to can. This is not the time for you to start exploring the wonders of pressure canning. This is not the time for you to suddenly follow your heart's dream to start preserving things. You don't have that luxury anymore. If you already know how to can, excellent, perfect, fine. Keep doing you. In fact, you shouldn't be watching this video, because this is kind of for the people that are lost and don't know where to go. If you're one of those people, this is not the time to be learning these skills, because canning and preserving, when it goes wrong, it can kill you. And the other thing is, your failures are going to suck the morale out of you. You are going to be disappointed and saddened to find out that you have to throw out all your preserves because you made a mistake. So please don't do it. This is what I'm talking about, cheap cast iron. This is what I'm talking about, cheap multi-cooker, slow cooker rice cookers. This is why we're saying get stuff like this, because the most important thing is going to be to keep your morale up. You will make it through this as long as you keep finding joy in things and you don't get beaten down. And that's where the real fight is. So, with that in mind, these guys, whole peeled tomatoes, chopped tomatoes, pureed tomatoes, whatever, these are your friend. Do not get a can that is rusted or dented, because it can be damaged, and, well, that is bad. But you're going to want something like this, and you're going to want now, look up recipes from the Philippines, Mexico, Spain, places like that to learn how to cook beans. I will say don't throw out the water if you're going to soak your beans overnight, and I'm not going to wander into that debate in this video as to whether you should be soaking or not soaking your beans, or washing your rice or not washing your rice. I'm not here for that. What I am going to say is, if you are soaking your beans, that liquid, the dirty water that you're going to pull off, that's aquafaba. That can be used as a thickening agent if you store it in the fridge. So if you want to throw that out, you can, but please bear in mind, it has a cooking use. You can keep it and cook with it. And also, if you get canned beans, the liquid that comes off those, a lot of American recipes tell you to rinse your beans. A lot of European recipes tell you to rinse your beans. Keep that liquid. It has protein in it. It can be used as a thickening agent. In fact, vegan egg whites use aquafaba, or the liquid that comes off beans after you soak them, uses that. So you can also use that in cooking. Get yourself a good cookbook. You want to get something like the Veganomicon, which is a very concise, very dense, very good book on how to cook vegan food. And you're going to want to get something like what am I thinking of? Yeah, okay. So you're going to want to have something like Modernist Cooking at Home, or you want to have something like the Salt Acid Fire, Salt Acid Heat. I think that's what it's called. You want one of those good general introductions to cooking. And if you're near a thrift store and you're going down there to check for cast iron, okay, the headset keeps turning off, so I don't even know if it's working and connected to the potato. So we'll just soldier on without it regardless, because screw it, this information needs to get out. Look for a good heavy cookbook, something like Culinarina Mediterranea. If you see any of the CIA cookbooks down there, grab them. They're usually fairly cheap. I got a set of late 90s CIA cookbooks, Garnier Major, and I think it was just called Cooking or On Cooking. Anyway, and they were like $10 when I got them. Like, that's going back about 10 years, so they're probably about $15 now, but they're good value cookbooks to get. Don't buy them new, they'll cost you like $150 Australian. Not worth it, but if you can find them cheap, get them cheap. Celebrity cookbooks, just throw them in the bin, they're not worth it. But you want a good introduction, foundation set of cookbooks that'll teach you how to make stuff. Because you're going to want to know how to make soups and stocks and basic sauces, and I mean things like a glacé stock, how to make an au jus reduction, how to make your foundation sauces, hollandaise, béarnaise, which is just hollandaise with tarragon added to it. So you're going to want to know how to make a bechamel sauce as well, because these things, they're going to allow you to add fat into your diet, and also they're going to bring you a bit of joy. Continuing on with joy, buy spices, buy a lot of spices. If you've got access to a food saver, keep them in an airtight container. If you don't, just use bell jars. They've got a good, relatively tight seal, even if you screw them up tight. So use those to store your spices in there. And every time you go to use them, have a little bit of a sniff. Get that joy back into your life. Use a good quality salt. I know I've just shown you how to use, talking about using all cheap ingredients. But this is the thing. Use spices. Use dried soup mixes to flavour things. There are old recipes from like the late 70s, early 80s, the old struggle cookbooks from the Midwest, from the north of England, from Australia, the old Women's Weekly if you live in Australia. Those cookbooks will tell you about, grabbing dry powdered French onion soup and using that dry powdered mix to season your chicken. And it works. It tastes really good. It's also really cheap. And it's going to make it taste better than if you just grab a chicken and throw it in the oven. And it's going to take a lot of load off you. And if you can't afford chicken, at least you've got the bloody soup mix in the fridge, so you can add some water to it and you can have some stuff that way. If you are in the habit of cooking lots and you like using lots of fresh ingredients, start figuring out how to use frozen and canned stuff. If you're going to make a pea and ham soup, there's no need to use fresh peas. I have had a pea and ham soup made with fresh peas. It does taste amazing. However, canned peas are cheaper and easier and will save you so much more time. So you just blend them straight in. On the kitchen front, you are going to want a sharp knife, but it's up to you. You can order a blender of some description, either a stick blender or a portable Ninja blender for when you cancel your gym membership, because it costs $50 a month. You can't afford that anymore. Keep your Ninja blender, use that. Or if you've just got like a drinks blender, use that. And also, the other good thing about using dried soup mixes and stuff like this is, push comes to shove, you can use them to make dips. So if you want to make a French onion dip, you can just grab sour cream and a little bit of creme fraiche or cream cheese, blend them together with sour cream mix, bam, you've got a dip. And you're going to want to know about stuff like that, because you're going to need to be able to make food that brings joy and can also be used to bring people together. The reason why we keep talking about rice and beans is not because we're expecting a drudgery. It's because if you know how to cook a good slow cooker filled with pork and beans, I'm talking 4 or 5 pounds worth of beans and 2 ham hocks, and you just let that roll, throw in a little bit of pineapple juice, handful of frickin' chili flakes. That will chop some cilantro to finish off, go over the top. That will taste amazing, and you will bring your friends over. And so, as you are all going through this hell, and you're wondering how you're going to make ends meet, you will be able to cook food cheaply that you can bring people over, and you can come together, and you can build community around a bowl of freaking Filipino pork and beans. And it's also dirt cheap. It's also going to let you live. Like if you have to live on one meal a week, then pork and beans that's been cooked overnight in a slow cooker with pineapple juice and chili flakes and fresh cilantro stirred through it when you reheat it. It's going to keep you alive in soul, so that you'll be able to keep on going. Because this is going to be a marathon. So everything's changing. Maybe you'll be fine. Maybe you don't have to worry about that. But whatever. So that's what you need to do. And you kind of need to, well, ideally you should have started a couple of years ago, but let's not worry about that now. You need to start this now, and you need to start practicing. So if you do get your slow cooker, start cooking with it, like I said, once a week. Also, get in the habit of doing a potluck, bring your friends around. Cook up a big communal meal once a week. They can have them. Don't just do the crazy white thing of sitting there and going, come around at 6, it'll be right. I said, nah, man, come over at bloody 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Come over. That's when we're going to start throwing on the beans. You can come help me with that. You can bring some beers, bring some freaking moonshine, bring whatever you got, bro. I'm going to need help prepping this. Guess what? You're going to be eating it. You can help me prep too. That's how you're meant to do that type of thing. I know it's this kind of cool, trendy thing for you to spend hours and then just present it to people and go, oh, I've done an amazing thing. No, man, this is about building community, and you're going to build that community through struggle. So if you're on Struggle Street, bring people over and say, look, man, I'm on Struggle Street, but let's have a big communal meal. Bring over what you can, we'll cook it. We'll share. Because you're going to do it for them, and then they're going to do it for you. And before you know it, you're best friends with this person that lives next door, and you're exchanging grandma's recipes on how to do proper collard greens, and I will die on the hill of saying that collard greens should be cooked hard and fast, not for very long. And you can disagree with me, but you're wrong. They should be accurate. That is what they do. The butter and the fat and everything, it needs some acidity. It needs that acidity to cut through it. And if you're going to sit there and cook them for 3 weeks, then just use Swiss chard like a maniac. Everyone's coming for me now. So yeah, with stuff like that. That's why they talk about pork and beans. But the problem is the people that chant these things don't necessarily know how. They just know it's the struggle food. Some people will tell you potatoes are great. Well, I don't think potatoes are, because they don't keep particularly well. And they can attract bugs, and it's hard to keep them in an environment that will keep them stable for a while. But yeah, now is the time to replace your fridge. If your fridge is a little bit dodgy, maybe downsize to a newer fridge. Keep the old one, put it in the garage, use it for use it for drinks or whatever. But now's the time where if your fridge is if your fridge is on its way out, now is the time to replace it, because the loss of food is going to kill you mentally. If things get as bad as everyone thinks they're going to get. So yeah, this is my advice. Learn to cook absolute peasant food. Learn how, figure out for yourself the best way for you to take dried beans and tinned tomatoes and a handful of whatever's freezer beef, whatever frozen meat you've got. Figure out how to turn out the meal. I can't tell you that because I don't know how you taste things. But lentils are great, because if you want, you can soak lentils and then you can gently saute them in a pan for 20 minutes and you can get a beautiful French style black lentil dish that you sit there and go, oh, this is nice. You can use that as a side. You can also just throw them in a soup by themselves with a fistful of aggressive Southeast Asian spices, and you can make yourself a very good, rich soup out of them. Or you can stir fry toast them off in a pan, blitz them into a powder, and use that to batter fish and do a nice Sri Lankan style shallow fried fish, knowing that you're reinforcing your cheap frozen tilapia with something a little bit special. That's why this stuff's talked about. This is why this is peasant food. But peasants weren't stupid. Everything that you're going to want to know how to cook to keep you going in mind, body, and soul, you're going to have to learn how to do it, and it's going to be difficult. And you're going to want to do stuff that have zero risks. So beans, rice, lentils, it is very hard to cook them badly. If you overcook them, yeah, you might boil them dry and burn them. Well, you'll only do that once, but if you use a slow cooker, you'll never do that. So that's why I say get a slow cooker rather than cook them on the stove. This way you'll never end up with them overcooked. Worst case scenario that happens in a slow cooker, one of two things will happen. You didn't add enough water, in which case they'll be a little bit crunchy. You can just add some more water. have it run again. Or you cook them too long because you soak your beans, then you hit slow cook and pour it in boiling water and they just go to absolute mush. Well, just get a stick blender and call it a thick soup. Is it the greatest thing in the world? No. But, you know, maybe you don't feel like soup. Well, just call it 3 bean dip, blitz it again, and grab yourself a packet of cheap corn chips and off you go. But it will let you fail in a way that is safe. And that's why I've told you about the stuff that I've told you about, because you need to protect your stores so you're not wasting money. You need to be able to store your food safely. And you need to accept that you're going to have to spice your food up to bring joy. It is no coincidence in my mind that the most exciting, spiced, and varied food comes from the poorest of the poor. Because if all you have is a fistful of spice and a cup of water, well, you're going to find a way to make that tasty. So, yeah, this is what I'm saying. Get yourself spices. Don't be afraid to use them. Go hog wild. Don't be afraid to throw too many spices in there. Again, fail safe. Okay, so it doesn't taste good. Does it taste so terrible you can't eat it? Highly unlikely. So just get yourself spices. Start being a little bit peasantly aggressive, and if you don't know how to cook rice and beans or how to make pork and beans or baked beans and stuff like that, now's the time to do it, kids. Get yourself your slow cooker, get yourself your dry beans, get a can of tomatoes, yo ho ho, and off we go. Because if things don't turn out bad and you keep your job and you get a pay rise and everything's fine, well, at least you've got an interesting way of cooking it. And if you've gotten in the habit of bringing your friends over on a Sunday to help you do meal prep for a week, well, guess what? You're going to keep doing that. Now you've got an exciting new habit to do. And it will also give you a deeper appreciation of yourself. Because the reason why you want to do this, and this is the reason why you want to learn this, is because you are personally worth the time that you're going to invest into this. This will make you a better person. If you learn and you succeed and you struggle through adversity, you will be a better person. You'll be more fun to be around. You'll have recipes you can just pull out of your behind, and people are like, I wish I could be as fearless as you in the kitchen. It's like, I'm fearless because I've sat there. There have been times in my life where I've sat there and I've had dry pasta, a tin of tomatoes, and about 30 spices in the cupboard, and I've managed to make a meal out of that was good. Because, well, you ain't got nothing else, you ain't got nothing else. So, again, I stuck to generalities because at this point, I don't know where any of you are. I can't give you personal advice to tell you to go down to which supermarket to go to, which brands to buy. However, start now. Practice this now. If dried beans scare you, start cooking canned beans. And then in a month or two of doing this is 4 times. I'm only asking you to do this once a week. Grab the dry beans, soak them overnight, and then cook them as if they were canned. Who knows? It'll probably work. I mean, what's the worst thing that happens? You've got to cook them a little bit longer, and that's what needs to happen. There's a lot of fear around at the moment, and you have to get the fear out of you. And the only way you're getting the fear out of you is by doing this. I'm sorry this is dragged on. I'm sorry if you feel that this is not information that you really needed. But if this information has helped you, and if you want more specifics, drop a like at the end of this, and I will pull out my Women's Weekly cookbooks. I will pull out my German Struggle Street cookbooks. I will pull out my peasant cooking cookbooks that I have, and I've got an awful lot of them, to be brutally honest. I will go in and I will dig in my library, and I will find specific recipes, and I will give you specific recipes for doing stuff. But that's only if you want it. We'll do something crazy. If this gets 15 likes, I'll do a video telling you how to make pork and beans the Filipino way. So there we go. Good luck, good night, good whatever.